Greetings of the day, dear students, and to all the viewers who are happen to be watching. Welcome to Bangla Shikha Classroom, an endeavor of Paschim Bongo Samagro Shikha Mission, Department of Education, Government of West Bengal. I am Dr. Ivy Sarkar, Headmistress, Srirampur Girls' High School, Hooghly. Today, I would explain the second part of the poem composed upon Westminster Bridge, September 3, 1802. It's a poem by William Wordsworth meant for Class 11, Semester 1. Already in the previous part, we have explained the poem, the introduction, the background of the poem, the introduction to the poet, and the first 3 lines from the octave have been done. So now I'll continue with my explanation, before which I would simply say the gist, that is Wordsworth was going to, this is an autobiographical poem full of subjective note or personal note, and he was going to France to meet Annette Vallon along with his sister Dorothy, and while their journey, in the course of their journey, early morning they had to cross the Westminster Bridge that was over River Thames, the famous river Thames. And when they were crossing the bridge, he was wonderstruck by the mesmerizing beauty of London city from the bridge. He dropped down from his coach. He halted there for some time. He watched the beauty to his heart's content, and then he composed this poem. The date was 31st July 1802 that he made a rough draft, but afterwards, when he ultimately composed the poem with the final draft, it was September 3, 1802. So now we'll continue with the second part or the remaining part of the explanation. Here you can see again the Westminster Bridge. Just have a glimpse of it, how wonderful it is. It is still now one of the very famous and popular tourist attraction place. So tourists are largely attracted to this place. Now we'll continue with the poem. Octave, lines 4 and 5. This is a sonnet with the first stanza being an octave, a stanza of 8 lines, and the second stanza, a poem of 6 lines, which we called sestet. So now we'll deal with the octave. I have already explained the first 3 lines in the part 1 explanation of the poem, and now we'll continue with lines 4 and 5. So we'll continue with the poem. Line 4 says, "The city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning, silent bare." This city, which city? We know it's a city of London. Now doth. Doth is an archaic word, an ancient word which means does. So this city now is wearing a garment wear the beauty of the morning. So what is Wordsworth perceiving? Standing upon the Westminster Bridge early in the morning, when the city was so serene, quiet, tranquil, the usual hustle and bustle and noise and cacophony of London city was absent at that time of the day. And so the poet expresses his wonder by stating that the city now means that particular moment in the morning, early morning, wear a garment. Now, can a city wear any garment? No. But city is here said to be wearing a garment. So the city is personified. City is endowed or given the quality of a person of putting on or wearing. And you know, here we have a rhetorical device or a literary device which is called personification. So city now doth like a garment. So like a garment, the city is wearing what? The beauty of the morning. So just as a human being wears a garment and looks beautiful, Similarly, the city was wearing a garment in the form of the beauty of the morning. That means the beauty of the morning was the garment for the city. Actually, the beauty of the morning, the glowing light of the early morning sun, that was enveloping the city, and the city was looking awesome. The city was looking beautiful. The city was looking mesmerizing. So, the beauty of the morning is here like a garment for the city. So, if you can remember or if you know that here we can find a simile. What is a simile? Simile is a literary device where a clear comparison is made between two things, two different things. So, here garment or the beauty of the morning is compared to a garment. So, while expressing his love for the scenic beauty of nature and while expressing his love for the view that he was witnessing, the poet says, this city of London now is wearing the beauty of the morning just like a person wears a garment. And how is it looking? There is silent, bare. Silent because the place is full of tranquility, quietude, serenity, and bare. There is no obstruction. There is no dark, thick, smoky smoke, fog. So it's bare. Everything can be seen clearly. This is the view. So, in this particular lines, line 4 and 5, we have seen two figure of speeches, two literary devices. As I mentioned, you can see we had personification. We are having personification, and in line 4 and 5, garment where the beauty of the morning. Here we have a simile. So let us try to clarify these concepts once again in a better light. What is personification? It is a literary device in which inanimate objects or non-living things or abstract ideas, honesty is abstract because honesty cannot be seen. Honesty cannot be touched. So these are abstract ideas. So when abstract ideas or inanimate or non-living objects are given the quality or characteristics of a person, then it is called a personification. So in the poem's context, if you see in the poem's context, what we have in the poem's context, the city has been personified because the city has been endowed with the human action of wearing a garment. And we have another figure of speech or another literary device, that is a simile. What is a simile? It is a literary device in which a clear or explicit also means clear, comparison is made between two things. How we understand explicit? When there are words like as, like, such, then it is an explicit comparison. For example, she is like a rose. So here the girl has been compared to a rose, and the comparison is made clear by the use of the word like. So this is a case of simile. So in the poem, what simile we have and where is the simile? The beauty of the morning has been compared to a garment. And if you can see that here like is used, so we have a simile. So the city is now wearing the beauty of the morning, and the beauty of the early morning is enveloping the city, and it is looking like a garment for the city, and the entire scenery was so tranquil, serene, and such unobstructed view really impressed the poet. Now we move on to the next line, line number 6 in the octave section. So from there, I said that everything was unobstructed. He could have a clear view of everything. So from there, what exactly could he see? Now here, Wordsworth gives us those man-made architectural structures that he could see from upon the Westminster Bridge. Ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples lie. Just these are the things that he could see. Ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples. Ships refer to the ships on River Thames. You know, the bridge is spanning over River Thames. So it refers to the ships on River Thames. The ships, those were there. And towers, Tower of London, that could be seen from the Westminster Bridge, and there were similar smaller towers. So the Tower of London and the like, those could be seen from the Westminster Bridge. Then he could see the domes. This refers to the domes of St. Paul's Cathedral. If you look at the image, you will find that the domes can be seen. This is a view from the Westminster Bridge. And from there, he could see the theatres. You know, a Globe Theatre's roof or upper parts might have been visible at that time because of the lack of surrounding structures at that time. So Globe Theatre's roof and upper parts could be visible, and he was probably referring to the Globe Theatre's upper parts or the Globe Theatre and the other smaller theatres there. Now temples, he could see the temples. So temples refer to St. Margaret's Church, that was seen from there, that could be seen from there. St. Paul's Cathedral is a famous one, St. Paul's Cathedral, and other smaller chapels together make temples. So temples here means not this only the Hindu temple. Temples is a root word which means any religious institution or any religious institution or structure, that is temples. So here from the Westminster Bridge, from upon the Westminster Bridge, whatever man-made architectural structures he could see, he defines them or he delineates them. He states that he could see the ships, the towers, the domes. Ships means the ships on the River Thames, the towers of London and the like, the domes of St. Paul's Cathedral, the Globe Theatre and other theatres, and St. Paul's Cathedral, St. Margaret's Church and other small chapels. So he could see all these things from upon the Westminster Bridge quite unobstructed, quite clearly. Moving to line number 7, he could see these things open unto the fields and to the sky. Open. Again, the word bare and the word open points out the view was clear, the view was unobstructed. Now see line 7, open unto the fields. This is line 7, open unto the fields and to the sky. This suggests that from the bridge, one can see beyond the urban landscape of London and gaze out upon the open fields and the sky. So this image actually contrasts with the usual view of London as a crowded industrial city. Generally during the daytime, we find that crowded industrial city view. But at this time of the day, at this hour, the view from the Westminster Bridge offers a sense of expansiveness. The distant fields and the sky, everything could be seen. And this offers a sense of freedom because everything is unobstructed. So open unto the fields and to the sky means in lengthwise and breadthwise, a vast view, an expansive view can be possible or was possible. So he was having such a great view from upon the Westminster Bridge, and this shows the natural beauty of the place. And here the man-made structures and all those things, that also becomes a part, all those things become a part of nature. So moving on to the last line of the octave, he says that all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. So what was he seeing? What were the things that he was witnessing from upon the bridge? The ships, towers, domes, and temples, theaters, whatever he was witnessing from the bridge. And he was also witnessing the vast, expansive arena. And all these things were bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Very important phrase, smokeless air. So, smokeless air suggests lack of pollution, lack of thick, foggy smoke. Actually, beside on the banks of the river Thames, there were many slaughterhouses and many industries that gave out black smoke. And it was a crowded city at that time, more crowded at that time, not very clean, neatly shaped with skyscrapers. But at that time of the day, early in the morning, the poet stresses that there was no pollution, smokeless air. So it points out this line, all bright and glittering, all bright and glittering. This was a rare glimpse of the city's beauty. This was a rare glimpse of London. But early morning, he had this rare glimpse of the city's beauty with the sunlight making everything sparkle and shine. Now we will move on to the sestet, the last 6 lines. And you know what happens in the octave when Wordsworth has described the man-made structures in the natural setting, but in the sestet, his focus will shift from the man-made structures to completely to nature's beauty and communion between man and nature. In the first part of the poem, in the first part explanation, where I have made the explanation, in the first video, they have talked about Wordsworth's belief in the theory of pantheism and how he expressed pantheism, his belief in pantheism in his poems. I will just make an important point about it here. In a nutshell, I would say what pantheism is: the belief that there is soul, there is a living entity, there is life in the objects of nature. Wordsworth believed that each and every element of nature is endowed with a divine entity, divine soul. Nature has the power to guide us, to control us, to check us, and a communion between man and nature is possible. If you are worried, if you are depressed, if you are full of anxiety, go to the lap of nature. Your bruised heart, your anxious mind will be soothed. Nature acts like a balm to our heart, soul or mind. So here that communion between how nature and man feels a communion, that will be shown in the sestet. So while in the octave, Wordsworth has shown us the man-made structures in the natural setting, in the sestet, his focus will shift entirely to the nature's beauty and how a communion is possible, a communication is possible between man and nature, and what is the effect of this nature's beauty on man, or particularly on Wordsworth in the context of the poem. So he says, never did sun so beautifully steep in his first splendor valley, rock or hill. So what is the meaning of steep? Steep means immerse, bathe or soak. So you can see the light of the sun. So when Wordsworth sees this, he says, never did sun so beautifully steep, means never have I seen the first rays of the sun falling on valley, rock or hill and making them look so beautifully. So actually the rays of the sun were falling on valley, rock and hill. And when Wordsworth viewed this, when Wordsworth saw this, he felt that the light of the sun was soaking or bathing these natural objects like valley, rock or hill. So they are being bathed by the light of the, bathed in the light of the sun. And he says, never did sun so beautifully steep, never ever. So here I think you have understood the line, but here we have literary devices also. In line 1, first line of the sestet, there is a hyperbaton, and in the second line we have a personification. So what it says, now let us understand what is hyperbaton and what is personification again. Now hyperbaton, it is a literary device in which the word order is inversed for the sake of poetry or for poetic emphasis. In the first part also I have talked about hyperbaton. Now for example, you see, wealth and riches have I none. Normally what do we say? We say, I have no wealth and riches. This is a normal, ordinary, regular, assertive sentence. But if we inverse the word order and if we say, instead of I have no wealth and riches, if I say wealth and riches have I none, then it becomes a hyperbaton. So here also word order has been inversed and we have a hyperbaton in the poem. In the poem's context, you see, never did sun so beautifully steep. Normally what we can say, sun has never beautifully stepped. But never did sun, never comes at the beginning, never did sun so beautifully steep. So here the word order has been inversed, and so this is an example of hyperbaton. We also have personification, which has been explained before. It is a literary device in which inanimate objects or abstract ideas are given the quality or characteristics of a person. Here sun has been personified because it is given the human action of immersing the valley, rock and hill with his bright rays, in his bright rays. So see, sun, just as a mother bathes his son, bathes his baby, similarly the sun seemed to be bathing the valley, rock and hill in the water of his bright rays. So we have here the sun has been personified. So now I hope you understand this line. So he, from upon the Westminster Bridge, when he saw the light of the sun falling on the valley, rock or hill, then he expressed this line, that such a beautiful view. The rays of the sun never was seen in such splendor. With the first splendor, with the first majestic splendor of the sun's rays, the valley, rock and hill are looking so beautiful as if they are bathing in the light of the sun. Now lines 3 and 4, that means of the second stanza, sestet, lines 3 and 4. Never saw I. So that was a beautiful picture of nature, and now see what kind of effect that nature's beauty is having on the poet. Never saw I, never felt a calm so deep. Calm means tranquility, serenity, calm, tranquility, peace. So he says, never saw I. Never is a contraction, contracted word from never, it is near, saw I. So he says, I have never seen, I have never felt such a calm, such a tranquility, such a peace so deeply within my heart and mind. I have never felt this. So it generally happens when you are in the lap of nature, the beauty of nature rests on you and you feel such a peace. So here also nature had an effect on Wordsworth, and he says he had never seen, he had never felt such a calm, such a peace so deeply before. So, here also we have got a literary device in line 3, that is hyperbaton. I explained you what hyperbaton is, where the word order is inversed. So, here also he could have said, I have never seen, isn't it? But he says, never saw I. I never saw. He could have said, I never saw. But he says, never saw I. So, word order has been inversed. And so, this is, here we have a hyperbaton. Never felt a calm so deep. And next line, let us come to it. The river glideth at his own sweet will. Glideth means, this glideth is also an archaic word. Glideth. Previously we had an archaic word doth, which means does. Here we have glideth. This is an ancient or archaic word which means glides or flows silently. At his own sweet will. So you can see the image of the river Thames. See? So peacefully, silently, and such a quietly the river is flowing. So the river glideth at his own sweet will. So there is no turbulence. So peaceful aspect of the river is shown here, of nature is shown here. So here we have personification because the river has been personified. See, his. So just as a man moves on his own sweet will in a relaxed way according to his mood, similarly the river is also flowing as per his own sweet will or wish. So here the river has been personified. Now the last two lines of the poem. So the sestet section, the lines 5 and 6. Here we have already seen the beauty of nature and the effect of it on Wordsworth, because Wordsworth was feeling supreme. He was feeling so calm within. So he invokes God. Dear God. Here there is a literary device called apostrophe. When we invoke or call some inanimate object, say here he is invoking God. Dear God, he is calling God. He reminds God, he remembers God, recalls God. Dear God, because such aesthetic beauty of nature only makes him remind God, and he already believes that the nature is a divine entity. Dear God. So one question I have seen, is the poet religious minded? Of course the poet is religious minded, because this is expressed, or this is revealed from the phrase, dear God. The houses seem asleep. The very houses seem asleep. So the houses, it's early in the morning. The normal activity of the day has not started. So see the houses appearing to be asleep. Isn't it? See? Quiet, no person can be seen. The houses seem asleep. The very houses seem asleep. Actually, houses are not asleep. The inmates of the houses are asleep. So the very houses seem asleep. So here it is said houses are asleep. So houses are personified, given the quality of sleeping. Okay. And this again points out what? This again points out the quietude of the place. And all that mighty heart is lying still. All that mighty heart is lying still. Now mighty means huge. Now here in this line we have in line 6 a metaphor. What is a metaphor? You have learnt about simile. Simile is a clear comparison between two different things. And how we understand clear comparison? There are words like, as, such, etc. And metaphor is what? Metaphor is a literary device where an implicit or indirect or hidden comparison is made between two different things. For example, she is a fox. I am not telling she is like a fox. I am telling she is a fox. By which perhaps I mean she is as cunning as a fox, or she is as clever as a fox. But what exactly I am stating It's not clear. So whenever there is an unclear, indirect, hidden comparison, that is a metaphor which is not made clear by like, as, etc. So here also we have a metaphor, and all that mighty heart. Actually, here heart, London has been compared to a heart. Just as you know, heart is the main organ of a human body. It regulates the other functions. Once we have a heart attack or the heart stops functioning, then we collapse. Similarly, London was the heart of Britain. It was the hub, it was the center, political center, cultural center, educational center, industrial center, commercial center of England. It's mighty in that aspect. But in this early morning, the poet finds that mighty heart is still. So there is overall an image of serenity, calmness everywhere. London seems to be asleep. So here see the comparison. Just as a human heart is the central driving force behind the body's functions, London is the heart of England or Britain. The comparison signifies the city's vibrant spirit, London city's rhythm and beat, the city's energy and beauty. London thus becomes a living, breathing entity. You know, when the poet compares London to a heart, that means the poet gives London the vibrant spirit, the rhythm, the beat, the energy, the beauty, and London becomes a breathing, living entity. I hope you have understood. You have understood the metaphor. So London has been compared to a human heart. In which respect? Just as heart is very important, very indispensable, similarly London is very important. It is a center of the activities. It's center amidst nature. Here also. But here also another metaphorical aspect, just like an onion, we have so many layers of onion, no? Here also this metaphor can be understood from another angle too. So things to ponder. Any other hidden analogy or metaphor can you find? Think about it. Okay, I would tell you, I'll give you a hint. Afterwards you can elaborate. Mighty. Now mighty word means huge. So generally huge means like a giant, huge. London too has been indirectly, I said, metaphor and extended metaphor. So that was London during the normal course of the day. It's like a giant. It's very ugly with all industrial activities and black smoke. But that mighty thing, so mighty can be in both ways. Mighty, it's very good. And mighty when London assumes a very ugly look during the other time of the day, like a giant. But that is now still. That is not in its ugly aspect. That is now lying still and looking beautiful. Now finally, let me tell you one more thing, that is in which meter this poem is written in. The poem is written in iambic pentameter. See, iambic pentameter. Now let us take a sentence. If you can remember this sentence, the city. So there are two syllables in the word city. So I am writing in this way, the city. Now, one syllable, now doth. Like a garment, like a garment, G-A-R, gar, this is one syllable, and ment, this is the second syllable. So garment, and now wear. So how do we understand syllables and meters? Now syllables, the amount of sound that we are able to pronounce by a single breath, that is a syllable. So C-T. So there are 2 syllables, garment, 2 syllables, beautiful, 3 syllables. So in this way, we have divided the words into syllables. And after this, what we do is we scan the words, we will scan the sentence. You will learn this in higher classes, but simply I'll tell you, when we pronounce a word, at that time, here we can see the C, here the stress is not on the first syllable, the stress is on the second syllable. The C, T now, doth like, a ghar meant wear. So the syllable, the stress is on the second syllable. And so this is called iambic. When the stress is on the second syllable, that is called iambic. When the stress is on the first syllable, then that is called trochaic. So you need not know. So this is iambic because the stress is on the second syllable. Mostly. There may be variations. There are variations. And why pentameter? See, 2 syllables form a meter. Meter 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there are, this is 1 meter. This is the second one. This is the third one. This is a gar, fourth one. And this is fifth one. So this is pentameter. So iambic, pentameter. So what is the meter of the poem? Iambic, pentameter. So this is, so I think you have understood the hidden analogy here. Ponder over the questions. Here from this poem, you are going to have MCQ type of questions. 1 marks question for your first semester. This is a poem by the romantic poet William Wordsworth, who belonged to the 19th century. And in between, you can have some other literary devices also, like consonance is there in ships, stars, domes. There you have consonance. There is enjambment. Try to learn more about it. Thank you. Wishing you all the best. Have a good day, all of you.